We're going to talk today about your updates and the conversations you're having with your bosses, with your CEO, or with any of your more senior executive leadership. Because if you are finding that your leaders are only asking you for updates, then you're already replaceable. And I want to explain that. And this is also one of the reasons that you're likely feeling like, I'm invisible. Why does nobody see the work that I've been doing? Yet other colleagues are getting the recognition and are getting promoted. So this is a common symptom and a common comment, common comment that I hear even just at school with other women who are dropping off their kids at school, and they're like, I've got colleagues, they're like, oh, you should have been promoted. Like that job would have been perfect for you. That role would have been perfect for you. Why weren't you promoted into that role? And they're like, I don't know. Like, I would like to get some more recognition. I definitely would like to move into a new role, but I don't know why other people who seem to do less or less qualified are moving further up in their career, and I'm not. So I wanted to talk about that, and the more specifically about in that conversation that you're going to have with your leaders, your senior leaders, and your boss, so that you're positioning yourself as the no-brainer of top of the list person for that, either that next leadership role, or could even be just as simple as being invited into those conversations where the strategy gets decided. So one of my clients shared about 10 days ago now of and she shared in her a comment of like, oh my God, I'm getting invited to the boardroom. My leaders have invited me into the boardroom because they're like, we need you here to help because you have so many insights and you have so much experience that is going to help us really solve the problems and the issues that we're facing right now. And we want you to come and join that conversation so that we can really make a strong strategy that we can get the results that we're wanting to achieve. And I know she had this like OMG moment when she said this and shared this win with me and all the other women inside of my signature program, the Accelerator, and just said, I can't believe this is happening. Like I'm getting I'm getting asked by my CEO to join in these board level conversations around strategy, next steps, etc. So here's the thing that I see, I really do. I see this again with so many different brilliant women leaders. They're trusted to give the updates, but they're never invited for the insights. So I wanted to kind of unpack all of that today and really give you a way to shift and reframe that so that you can start being seen as a go-to partner and a go-to strategic leader versus the person that's fixing it all behind the scenes. Now, if this is the first time you're joining me here, I am Kim Rijmakers, and I am a leadership coach and executive advisor specifically for women in leadership, and most at the levels of the director and senior leadership. And I help you create a sustainable way of leading, both to create high performing teams, but also to develop your career in a way that is what you want, but is also sustainable for the long run. All right, so let's dive into today's conversation, right? So if you're one of the many women that believe, hey, if I'm giving update, this is going to give me recognition, this is an old way of thinking. And I do get this because I know I've been taught, but likely you have been taught as well. As long as you're delivering results, you're doing the work and keeping people informed, you're going to get rewarded. I mean, realistically, think about how many times if you were keeping your teachers updated and you were doing your homework and you were doing your tests, well, you would get rewarded with good grades, etc. And you might have even experienced this in the beginning of your career where you were giving your boss updates on here's what the progress that I've made. And that led to reward of like recognition as well as possibly your first promotion out of that individual contributor role. But while you're getting praised likely for the reliability and the execution, this isn't leading to anything further when you get into a more senior level roles because you're surrounded with high performers. And I want you to think about this. So if we keep on this thought of like, okay, well, if I give updates and that's going to give me, I just get really good at giving great updates, I'm going to get that recognition. Think about the amount of colleagues who have been tapped for senior roles already. Are they the ones giving the best updates? Not likely, because they're the ones that are shaping the conversation from their perspective. And if we even go further, if updates, really giving great updates, truly build careers, then every single project manager would be on the fast track to the C suite. Now, I've been a project manager. It can be a fast track to the C suite, but let's be honest, just simply updates isn't going to get you on that fast track. And what we see and what we get to know is that that's not how it works. Updates and isn't giving great updates isn't going to get you the recognition. It's giving updates keeps you in the execution mode, not only for yourself, but more importantly, in the perception and the view of your leaders, your boss, your managers, etc. Whereas when you start to share insights, that is going to allow you to be seen as a leader. And if you keep getting stuck in this update mode, guess what's going to happen? And this is just, I hate when this happens, but realistically, this happens more often than not, is you end up staying late, fixing problems while everybody else is going to be in strategy meetings. You're doing all of the heavy lifting to solve problems, maybe even create like new processes that work even better, but nobody connects those results to you. And if you're finding yourself in a one-on-one conversation, whether it's with your boss, and sometimes you may actually be indeed with a CEO, and they're like, well, where are we at? Guess what? That is, they're seeing you as a great fixer. They're seeing you as someone that can execute. They're not seeing you as someone that they can spar with, that has ideas or insights. So what you want them to be asking is like, well, what do you recommend? Right? Otherwise, you're going to end up staying, again, late, fixing issues. You're going to be doing the reporting while a lot of your less experienced peers are being asked for their opinion. Does that sound familiar? Because I know this is why so many women often feel like they're overworked and undervalued because, hey, I'm doing all the work, nobody's seeing it, and I've been giving my updates regularly. If I'm in the meeting, I'm telling them what I'm doing, but it's not enough. But here's the thing, like I shared at the very beginning, if you are giving your CEO updates, then you are replaceable. What makes you irreplaceable or indispensable is the insight that you bring with that. So when you are giving updates, what you're doing is you're telling everybody else around you of you being in execution mode. Now, you might be asking, well, what am I supposed to talk about if I'm not supposed to give an update? Now, an update are things like, here's the tasks and activities that I finished. What you really want to do and how you position yourself as a true partner for your management, for your leaders, for your executives, is to start sharing the insights in that sense of like, you can still share some of the things you're doing, but limit it, because what you want to do is really frame the work that you're doing, the work that your team is accomplishing and tie it to business impact, tie it to the business impact of what the strategy that your organization wants to achieve. Share your thinking about it and share your thinking around all your insights even before any decisions have been made. Now, when you start to do that, you start to position yourself more as a sparring partner, a thought partner for your leaders, that they're like, hey, this is who we need to have join us to have the conversations when it comes to deciding business strategy, to doing all the new things, right? And it doesn't position you as a fixer. Or in this case, it almost is like you're a reporter. You're reporting out, what are my updates? And unless you took journalism, I don't think that's quite where you wanted to be. Now, this is exactly what happened with Christine, one of my clients I worked with over the past couple of years, and she was brilliant, was great, but was being overlooked. She was getting a lot of the admin tasks, and even though had a senior level role, her CEO just thought of like, "Oh, okay, well, could you just give me an update on this?" Whereas she had an entire strategy, but that wasn't being seen or even being recognized that she had that. So when we started shifting how she spoke and how she shared what she was doing and started framing her work as being linked to business impact, being linked to specific KPIs and strategies, and sharing the insights that were coming from based off of that work that she was doing, guess what? Now she's the person that the CEO asks for her perspective, for her insights. She's the person who has become that sparring partner for her CEO. She is that strategic partner. And that is the difference between being overlooked and being indispensable. So if you're looking for, it's like, hey, I really want to have that recognition and that respect for my leaders. I want to be seen as a strategic partner, not just the one that gets things done. If you want to be invited to those senior level conversations, and in the best of cases, or even in in just mediocre cases, you clear a promotion path for yourself into higher leadership, you're not going to get it when you give updates, but you get all of that when you start bringing the insights and start tying it to strategic outcomes. So here's a last question I want to give you for today, and that is around, are you willing, and for any of the women leaders that are watching, and of course you can drop any questions in the comments, but are you willing to keep being that update person, to keep seeing other colleagues get promoted, get those strategic projects, get that recognition while you're staying invisible? Or are you ready to be that partner that your boss, your leaders, your CEO can't ignore? Because when you're ready to make that step and into that shift, then I want you to contact me and DM me or comment below partner, because I've got a few spots open this month to help women leaders become the strategic voices that their CEOs, that their leaders, that their management is relying on. So if you're ready for that, and when you're ready for that, I want you to DM me partner, and we'll start to have a conversation around what that could look like. Because if nothing is going to change in the next couple of months, what do you expect in terms of results? They will likely be the same thing. All right. Thank you for taking your time and watching this today. And again, if you want your organization, you want your leaders to start seeing you as a strategic partner, then we need to let go of giving updates and start sharing insights that are tied to business outcomes, business income, impact. And if you want to know